Warning, the following presentation contains cold, hard truths that might change the way you think. Viewer discretion won't do you any good now.
This game never received an official English translation, and it likely never will. We're looking into it usually means they ain't looking into it. If you're not planning on selling this game to English-speaking people, what is the point of this? Sometimes in life, a man must admit when they were wrong. And I was dead wrong about The Matrix 4 never being released. It's actually coming out in a few months, and not in North Korea. But I've never been more happy to be wrong than when I was wrong about Phantasy Star Online 2 not getting an English release. It only took them a mere 8 years to do it, but PSO2 was finally released in English about a year ago. And one thing has been clear to me ever since. My review of this game was fucking garbage. No, I'm not talking about the part where I stated with assurance that an English version will never happen. I just barely did this game justice. I mean, I admittedly didn't understand like half the game. And so much content has been added in the past 4 years, it feels like a whole different game now. I don't even know what Phantasy Star is anymore. PSO2 has become one of the most extravagant, insane games I've ever— What is that? Is that what I think it is? Wow. This is like Gundam Schwing. On top of that, there's also the entirely new shared universe game PSO2 New Genesis, playable alongside the main game, which we will get to in just a bit. But replaying PSO2 with full English translation was quite the eye-opening experience. I couldn't tell if parts of the game were new or if I was just understanding them for the first time. And overall, this experience made me love the game twice as much. So let's get to the #1 improvement right away. The best thing about the English version of PSO2 is they made it so you don't have to do the story mode. Originally, you were required to beat the subquests, expedition quests, and story quests to progress in the main game and unlock more levels. Now you only have to beat the expedition quests, which are the best ones anyway because they contain bosses. And levels that you used to have to unlock are now already unlocked from the get-go. They basically made the story mode even less necessary than it already wasn't. I've made this disdain clear in the past, but I just never fucked with the way this game integrated its story mode. Or I should say, didn't integrate it. It's this whole separate entity attached to the game, kind of like a Siamese twin from Basket Case, that someone just forgot to sever and throw in the trash. And now it's going around killing everybody. What? The story in this game is massive. I think it's bigger than both of the anime series combined. And aside from the pile of cliches and some pretty goofy dialogue,
you're the one who decided to worship me, dumbass!
I actually don't think it's the plot that bothers me. I just have a problem with the way that it's doled out in this excruciating dump of mini cutscenes. Some of them are so short, you really wonder why they couldn't have just been a part of a bigger cutscene. I'll admit, the story has some great moments, and some good characters.
Oops, my hand slipped.
A lot of cool shit does happen in it, but it really doesn't know when to end. And more importantly, they could have made this entire mode a lot more desirable if you actually gained experience points from doing it. I mean, you get some, but nowhere near enough to even make a dent in your leveling meter. The only thing you get from watching the story is the story. Oh well. At least I get to look at myself and sort of chuckle once in a while. Huh. Man, my guy looks fucking stupid. You know, I remember these scene titles being kind of confusing in the Japanese version. I wonder if they've improved at all. Episode 1, Chapter 0, The Day I Was Waiting For, Prologue, I've been waiting for this day forever, End. Hey, let me unpack this. So it's the end of the prologue of Chapter 0 in Episode 1. So we haven't even started the game yet, really. That's encouraging. I mean, if anything, this just confirms that there are too many cutscenes. They don't even know how to divide them up. It's so ridiculous. A lot of people claim that Episode 4 was by far the worst one, and that Episodes 1 through 3 are really where it's at. And I don't really agree. Those were boring as shit. At least Episode 4 was stupid and had some comedy. Call me crazy, but I thought Episode 5 was actually a big improvement. Again, it really didn't know when to end, but it was definitely epic. Teaming up with Alice from Phantasy Star 1, I think that was her. I mean, whoever it was, that part was incredible. And Episode 6 wasn't the worst thing I've ever played either. See? I told you I like the game. But you can completely ignore the story mode and still have a massive game to play through, with an insane amount of things to do in it. I mean, the number of classes you can pick now has basically doubled since my last review. And although the urgent and bonus key quests are by far the best way to earn experience points, there are still lots of other ways to activate several boosts at a time and constantly rake in the rewards. And even if certain activities don't directly benefit you, you can always trade those rewards for something that can be traded for another thing that can be traded for the thing that you need. You can always do some of that. But after playing this game on and off for a few years, I've noticed it's unfortunately suffered a similar fate to a lot of other games in this genre, and that the player shop economy has taken a total shit. I'm sorry, $1 million for a haircut? What does it do, cure baldness? Oh my. $1 billion for eyelids? The game is barely even in 1080p. You're not gonna see those things, like, ever. This is what happens when you release a bunch of limited time content that disappears before certain populations of people can even play the game. And you know, shit like that. Actually, I'm not gonna pretend like I know why this stuff happens, but it does in lots of games. It seems to be very easy for people to exploit in-game markets and upsell the crap out of every item. And while Sega probably doesn't know how to stop it, a lot of people have come up with some semi-decent solutions to the problem. Which brings me to my next point. I fucking love the community of this game. First of all, tons of people are playing the game. And second, people who play this game are hilarious. Look at this. Captain Turd Chucker? Now, how bad of a person could he possibly be? Or she. Could be a she. Or what about this guy? See, I thought I had some hilarious eyeglass placement. This dude's leaving me in the dust. Look at this guy. He just has birds glued to his body. Why? Hey, it's Dr. Roberdnik.
I'm thirsty. What can I get you? You want a Fanta? The last fucking drink you're ever gonna have.
But let's face it, the best thing about the community in this game is that they tolerate me. Hey, baby. I like how you're washing that wood. So do you ladies take credit cards? And somehow that turned into a conversation about cereal. I never get tired of interacting with people in this game with just text bubbles. It's just so classic PSO. But I think the biggest flaw in this game now is the fact that you can no longer share symbol art. They recently banned the crap out of this feature right here. I just want to share this image. It's very important that I do so. You know, I didn't save this stuff because I like being vulgar. I just think it's legitimately impressive that someone made these. I mean, if you actually go in and try to create one of these, I don't know. I think it's museum worthy. Overall, PSO2 has not lost its place in the ranks of great MMORPGs. But if you've grown a little stale on this game after the 8 years of it being out, say hello to PSO2 New Genesis. This is not just an expansion or a massive graphic update. This is a whole new version of Phantasy Star Online, a separate open-world shared universe game playable alongside PSO2. On the surface, this looks like an updated PSO2 with better lighting effects and higher jumping, but it's a lot more than that. Or less, actually. New Genesis has completely gutted the PSO2 experience. Most of the items are gone. No more monomates, trimates, no more atomizers of any kind. See these two plants? These are your new items. Greenie and Goldie. One for healing and one for reviving. Oh, what's that? You picked a force because you like using Resta? Well, they got rid of that. And a lot of other spells, too. You forces are on the plant, just like the rest of us. Enjoyed feeding and evolving mags? Good, because that's gone too. Now mags are stations that you offer resources to grant temporary buffs. Do you hate battle powers? Well... The main progression in New Genesis revolves around raising your battle power, as certain quests and activities will only become accessible when your number reaches certain levels. There are lots of ways to raise your battle power, and no matter what you do, it becomes a pretty grindy experience. It does force you to take advantage of every feature in the game, upgrading and augmenting weapons, completing all the daily tasks, collecting minerals. Now you have to do all this stuff. Many times over. A lot of people have complained that there isn't a lot or any content in this game right now. That all depends on your definition of content. If you don't really like to repeat the same missions over and over again, you should probably avoid any Phantasy Star Online game, especially this one. So this whole New Genesis thing is sounding like kind of a failure, right? Wrong. New Genesis is actually fucking incredible. I'm not kidding. Everything I just said about it is true, yet the game is still tons of fun. The entire PSO experience has been redesigned from the ground up, and somehow it actually works. I don't miss the items. I don't miss the spells. I eventually got past the grindy section. There's way less tedious inventory management. There's less things to do, but everything feels way more necessary. And on top of everything, the game feels really good to play. Whether you're gliding through the air looking for resources, circling a boss and zapping it in its weak spot, or just blasting waves of enemies in a PSE burst, the combat looks and feels phenomenal. Running, gliding, holding spells and releasing them for powerful blasts. It's all just tighter than it's ever been. Now, I'm playing this on the regular Xbox One, which is so not the way to play New Genesis. I mean, you can see for yourself, it just has this look of a modern game that's being squeezed or compressed into an old console. Just play it on a PC, or something better than this. But even on my shitty Xbox One with this toilet-level frame rate, I still think the game looks incredible. Especially the enemy design. A lot of liquid textures and detail that clearly is meant for a better console. God damn. But there's a good amount of people playing New Genesis right now, and there's nothing like stumbling upon a really good group and just bouncing around doing PSE burst after PSE burst, raking in piles of experience. Look at this shit. This is fucking ridiculous. When New Genesis is firing on all cylinders, it can be pretty glorious. I have a lot more respect for Sega after what they've done to PSO2. Instead of ending it and actually calling it the end, they're immediately rebooting it with New Genesis, trying to improve the PSO2 experience and continue its life cycle. If Sega can keep building on this and actually flesh it out with an amount of content that is acceptable to the majority of people, New Genesis could be a better game than PSO2. It's faster, bigger looking, yet tighter with a smaller, more focused progression. But PSO2 is still unmatched in size and things to do. And I still go back and forth between games. If at this point you still don't think these games are worth playing, all of this is still fucking free. Sega, thank you for New Genesis. Please finish New Genesis.